unprecedented view of our home planet. The climate satellite named PACE will check out the world's oceans and atmosphere in never-before-seen detail. PACE is short for plankton, aerosol, cloud, ocean ecosystem. It's the most advanced mission ever launched to study ocean biology.
And liftoff of Falcon 9 carrying NASA PACE. Go Falcon, go NASA LSP.
The $948 million mission launched before dawn with the Falcon rocket heading south over the Atlantic to achieve a rare polar orbit. The satellite will spend at least 3 years studying the oceans from 420 miles up as well as the atmosphere. CJ Papa, Fox News.
Stocks turning higher an hour to the close. The Dow's now up 28 points. The S&P up to a new high, 4,997. The NASDAQ also in the green. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Well, our weather is about to start changing. The clouds continue to roll in and thicken up, especially overnight. Temperatures only drop down to around 40 around the lake. For our Friday, we'll start out dry with a mostly cloudy sky. Temperatures should be able to warm up close to 60. By the afternoon, a couple of isolated showers possible heading into the weekend. It'll be mild, but it'll also be a bit damp at times. Showers, few of them possible for Saturday, wetter for Sunday and Monday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Whatever the story,
we have to end our dependence on China.
have your say.
This debt crisis is going to set our economy back big time.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Purple Heart Homes presents Putting the Pieces Back Together, a forum for veterans and the community to connect. Here are your hosts, veterans John Gallina and Brad Borders.
Well, I'm not John Gallina, but I certainly have Brad Borders with me here today.
Outstanding. We miss John.
Yeah.
Another secret mission.
I don't think he likes us anymore.
Top secret SCI.
He avoids us at all costs. Won't even come to the radio show.
I can't blame him.
He's
He's actually probably being very productive somewhere.
I would say so. And it's probably one of those guilty by association things. He doesn't want to be around us.
This is true. This is true. My dad always used to say, watch out hanging around them boys.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's,
you got to watch the company. You lay down with dogs, you're going to get some fleas.
Are we them boys?
Well, you are the devil dog. So
that's right.
There could be some fleas abounding. There's your social media post for the day there.
Are you
fleas abounding.
Call that out every time?
Yeah, every time we say something awesome.
Well, we've got a great show lined up for you today. We got Chief Warrant Officer Tony Familo.
I think you just...
I completely... Toby Flanderson. Brad, who's with us today?
So, Toby, there's your social media post. Toby Flanderson. Toby Familo.
Toby Familo.
We went over this morning.
I know. I was expecting to butcher his last name. And
not his
first name. I don't even know what happened there.
I realized Tony and Toby are very close in the way they sound. They got some similar consonants and vowels. But, oh, my gosh.
I was reading it off the screen over there, and we both know I can't read. So
this is true. Hence the Marine Corps.
Hoorah!
Hoorah! Hey, well, you're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. In case you didn't know, maybe you tuned in and went, what in the world just happened? Putting the Pieces Back Together is a show for veterans, by veterans, where we try to connect the pieces of the community back together. Veterans in transition, about what they did during the military. It's all presented by Purple Heart Homes. You can find out more about us at phhusa.org if you are so inclined.
Oh, man. You sounded professional there,
Rob.
Right?
Don't try this at home.
I think I called you Rob all of a sudden. I don't even know what happened there.
Are you okay?
We might need to get me checked out.
Well, we had a little emergency yesterday at work.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Our one of our most awesome employees, Miss Dawn Clark, got all of a sudden in a bad way, and we called the fine folks at EMS and paramedics, and not only did they send paramedics with all the tools and thankfully she's good to go and fine, but we were a little scared there for a minute, but they sent the hook and ladder truck. from the
hook and
Statesville
ladder
Fire
truck?
Department.
Oh man, that's pretty awesome.
Like the whole thing. Like not just the hook, but the ladder too. The whole thing.
Wait, I didn't think you could separate
And
those.
firefighters when they get out of the vehicle, firefighters are like, hey, we're here. And this one guy, and I've seen him a couple times, I can't remember his name, but he's got the coolest handlebar mustache. Comes down just like this, right? It's fantastic. If you saw him out in public, you go, the guy's a firefighter. That's exactly what you do.
I'm just staring at you like.
I'm just saying, we've had an exciting week. Thankfully, Dawn is okay. I'm just giving people a little behind-the-curtains look at life at Purple Heart Homes.
Man, and I'm sure they appreciate it. But I think they'd appreciate it even more
if we talk to our guest.
I believe so.
Tell me his name again.
So, Toby, why don't you state your name and official rank from the Army?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Toby Familo is how you pronounce it.
I don't think you said it right either.
And that's all right. That's what everybody says. I'm used to it.
Toby Familo.
Yep, there you go.
Well, we can do that.
Wow, yeah.
Now that we know, we've been instructed. Because I've been
I've got a 7-second memory.
I've been
that's
wrong.
That's not happening.
Toby, I've known you for a number of years. I've been wrong my whole friendship with you.
Most people I know say it wrong, and everybody in my family's used to hearing it that way. So
okay, well, we'll just call it Familo then. How about if we just call you Toby Familo?
That works.
Okay, there you go. Set a new standard. There
I might not answer to it if you say it correctly.
All right. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, yeah. Man, tell everybody about what was the path to joining the military, and was it a family thing or?
Yeah, kind of. My father was in the he was in Vietnam. He was an infantry guy in Vietnam. So growing up, he didn't tell a lot of stories, but we knew of it, and he talked about it a little bit. And then my sister joined the Army. She's about 3 years older than me. And then going through high school, I didn't really necessarily want to go to college, so I decided, hey, I was going to give the Army a shot, and I joined at 18 in 1996. I went down to basic training in South Carolina.
Lovely Fort Jackson.
Yes.
Oh, I have so many fond memories of that place.
Yeah.
It's a new level of hot there.
Yeah, in the summertime. But
bro.
I went in January and February.
Yeah.
First time they had snow in like many years.
Oh,
so
good for you.
I brought it from New York
to
South Carolina.
I had drill sergeants when I was I worked there for 3 years. I had drill sergeants that would come to me and go, I'm ready to go back to Iraq. It's cooler. It's cooler there. It's cooler.
That's saying something right there.
So, what was your original MOS you're coming out of Fort Jackson?
Yeah, so I signed up originally as a 37 Foxtrot, which is psychological operations specialist.
Oh, yes.
Got stationed at Fort Bragg.
You analyzing us right now?
No,
Okay.
that's a long time ago.
All right, okay, all right.
I'd say that too.
It took a long time.
But that is one of the reasons why I picked that job was I knew that I was going to go to Fort Bragg. It's the only active duty unit that the Army had.
That's exactly right.
So
7th POG, I think that's what it
was.
Well,
at the time, it was 4th POG.
It was 4th then, okay.
It was the only active duty POG at the time,
Yeah.
but things have expanded since I left.
It was, so for those that don't know, psychological operations and civil affairs come underneath the same thing in the reserve component called USIC KPOC.
Yep.
And most of all the psych stuff and all the civil affairs stuff was all in the reserve component for a number of years until we hit a little thing called 9/11. And then that started ramping up into the active component. So
yeah, there was a small active duty PSYOP unit for quite a few years before that.
Yeah,
but it's definitely much larger now.
Way larger.
Yeah,
yeah. And now to get into CA and PSYOP, you got to go through selection now. You got to go out to Camp McCall and move apparatus around lovely Pineland.
So. Much more difficult and specialized than when I was there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But you would have still made it.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
You got selected for something else, though.
Yep. About 10 years in, I decided I wanted to go the flight school and warrant officer route. So I put in my application for that, and lo and behold, got selected, and we moved to Lower Alabama.
Fort Rucker.
Fort Novasil now.
Oh, no kidding. They changed the name of that place, too.
They did.
Okay. Fort what?
Novasil.
Okay. That sounds like a medication.
It does.
Like I had like this skin disorder, and they put Novacell on it.
I was thinking more like hemorrhoids because being in the Army is kind of a pain, right?
Oh, my God. There's your social media clip right there. Lord. So go to flight school, and you come out. What airframe they put you on?
I selected the OH-58 Delta Kiowa Warrior, the little scout platform the Army had at the time.
Yep.
So I did well enough in school that I was able to select my airframe.
Yeah, I got to see. Yeah, I got to see a lot of those in Iraq. They had rockets on them too.
They did.
That is fantastic. Hey, we're getting ready to head into break. Hear from some of the folks that keep us on the air, and so you're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes. Thanks for tuning in.
There's more Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders on the way from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
We're back live.
All right, yeah.
All right, so you can cuss now.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like an invitation to cuss, but
just
if
cuss
you
for no reason.
Don't, and then you won't later.
Thanks, baby. You know, it's a good thing we have Tammy here. This is the way it works at home, too. This is the way it works at home. You know, you probably shouldn't do that.
Just because you could. I feel like you're one of those people that might need someone to tell you
some
that.
correction from time to time. Course correction is what we call that.
Course correction. Yeah.
So I was going to tell you that. So when I was in Iraq, there was a unit of Kiowas on Spiker, and I don't know if you were there in 2009-ish.
No.
Okay.
Do you remember? Do you remember which unit it was?
10th Mountain.
Okay. No.
Yeah, 10th Mountain. So it was. But that was a sad time because it was a happy time because I remember I was at a civil military operations center outside this base, and there was some kinetic stuff happening. And I remember one of the guys going, "Oh, it's good, man. The Kiowas are coming, right?" And it's like, right, you know. And we were really thankful, but they lost a crew while I was there. They hit some power lines.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Doing night ops, and it was a really bad day. For those
was that the one that it was a colonel that was in the aircraft?
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. Yeah, it was. Like 2009-ish, 10-ish, somewhere around in there. Yeah, it was a really bad day. So I know that because I made friends with a lot of the Chinook folks that ferried me around all over the place, and I remember they went through some, I was a chaplain guy, so we did some grieving together. So
yeah, they use that scenario as safety training,
no kidding.
accident prevention type stuff, like crew coordination.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that didn't have to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
1 minute.
Yeah. So awesome.
Write it down. I forget every week.
What's he writing down?
The number.
Oh, yes.
Oh, what number? The phone number.
It's right there. It's right in front of you.
The secret number?
The secret number.
Well, we said that out loud.
Oh, no, we're not supposed to let people know that there is.
Well, there is.
There's a bat phone.
Secret number.
Too late now.
There's a secret number.
If you'd like to know the secret number, you just message me live on Facebook, and I will give
30
you
seconds.
one digit every week. That means you're going to have to, and
you can call in June.
Right. Absolutely. You have to be there consecutively, though. Like if you miss a week, you got to start over. Yeah.
Are you going to send that to the mystery guest?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, outstanding.
I just had to double check.
All right. Hey, everybody on Facebook, we're ready to go back live. Mics are off, then they'll be on.
Coffee Shop, 165 North Main Street, Mooresville.
Now, back to Putting the Pieces Back Together with your hosts, John Gallina and Brad Borders on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Hey, welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. And I just scared the devil dog.
It was a little more enthusiastic than your outro.
My outro. Yeah, my outro was a little more subdued.
Yeah, I thought you were on NPR or something. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, what?
Yes, could
are
be.
we doing that skit again today?
We could do that skit. That skit works every single time.
I don't enjoy that skit, honestly.
You don't?
I don't listen to NPR for a reason.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the SNL version.
The SNL
is quite hilarious.
Yeah, and probably not FCC friendly.
Probably
so let's not
not.
go into that.
Wait a minute, they did that live on TV, so they didn't.
That's
actually.
True. They did.
Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, enough of that. So,
Absolutely. Let's get back to the guest.
We are with Chief Warrant Officer 3, retired, no doubt, Toby Familo. Man, I got it right.
Good job.
Oh, I'm
all
so
right.
excited.
I was waiting him to give you the thumbs up or thumbs down like Caesar. I didn't know.
I really had to think about it. I'm in cognitive decline anyhow, right? So I really had to think about it. And Devin had me all messed up, like all day, right? So anyhow.
I must have said it 7 different ways.
7. I don't know how you say it 7 different ways, but you did, right?
Do you want me to rattle down the list?
You probably say it 7 new ways.
That's right.
That's right. So anyhow,
but we don't want to confuse our listeners anymore. So
that's right. They're already confused. So
I was wondering if you could explain to the audience what a chief warrant officer is, or what a warrant officer in general is, because I was in the Marine Corps, and I'm still not quite sure.
They're unicorns,
right? Yeah.
No, they're not unicorns. There are a few out there. Yeah. So the Army, the Navy, and the Marine Corps all have warrant officers. I don't believe the Air Force does, but essentially, it's in between being enlisted and being a commissioned officer. If you have a specific job where they want you to go to some specialized training, become an officer, but not follow the leadership path, be more of a technical path, then that's what a warrant officer, what its role is. And in the Army, the more warrant officers are aviation, are pilots, helicopter pilots, which is a very specific task. So you have to be a warrant officer or a commissioned officer to be a pilot, where the majority of them are warrant officers.
There are warrant officers in the Special Forces realm as well, and are typically assigned at the team level. It's guys who made it maybe to E7. They were getting ready to be E8, and they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to go the career path route as enlisted, and so they go to warrant officer school and then become they essentially they get to stay on a team for a really long time, and they really love it. And anytime you ever meet a warrant officer, right, you always listen, because there's going to be a great story. I mean, immediately a great story. There's one coming for sure. So and there's a lot of hands in the pockets, and PT is optional. I mean, that's what I've been told. So, but anyhow, hey, so you flew the Kiowa helicopter. It does not have wheels on the bottom of it. It's skids.
It is skids. Real helicopters have skids.
Thank you very much. That's
You're welcome.
Awesome. Yeah. And so you graduated with honors, I'm sure. And,
yeah.
Yeah. And then so what was your first unit? Where'd you head off to?
So graduated in August of 2008 and went straight back to Fort Bragg to 117 Cav.
Okay.
Part of the 82nd Cab, Combat Aviation Brigade.
So it was interesting. So I was at Fort Bragg the day that the Kiowas left Fort Bragg for the last time, and flew in formation over the top of everybody. I didn't know it was getting ready to happen, but then I saw all these Kiowas.
Yeah. So that was later on. Fort Bragg was the last Kiowa unit that the Army held on to before they were officially retired.
Yeah.
My last flight in the Army, I was stationed at Fort Drum. We were the second to last unit that had Kiowas left, and my last flight in the Army was flying that thing from my flight of 10 helicopters in my troop flew from Fort Drum to New York down to Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Arizona. It took us 5 days across the country.
Oh, holy cow!
Yeah, and it was the most fun flying that I've ever had in the United States.
How many aircraft were part of that formation?
10.
No kidding.
There were 10 of us.
Yeah, I bet people on the ground were just like, "What is going on?
We're
being invaded."
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Holy cow!
But it was a lot of fun. Sad and fun.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
That was the last thing I did in the Army, aviation-wise.
Yeah. So you back to 2008. You graduated flight school, went back to Bragg, linked up with your unit. I'm guessing pretty shortly after that, you guys pushed out.
We did.
Overseas.
So that was August. We already knew that we were leaving next spring. So we hit the ground running with new pilots. When they show up to units, they have to go through readiness level progression training, it's called. You go from not being, out of flight school, you know how to fly the helicopter, you know all the basics and minimal information. But then when you get to your unit, the instructor pilots at your unit teach you how to actually employ that helicopter the way it's designed to be and be good at your job and support the ground guys. So we go through all that training, and we deployed to Kandahar, Afghanistan, in April of 2009. So just a few months later on.
Wow. And so 9-month rotation?
It was 12.
It was 12.
Yeah, April of 10 is when we returned, so it was a solid 12 months.
Okay. Yeah, and you were flying out of Kandahar?
We were. Mustang ramp over on the north side of Kandahar Airfield, so we didn't really have to deal with the airstrip itself. We had our own air traffic instructions just to get in and out of over the fence and
yeah,
because
there's a lot of big stuff coming in and out of there.
It kept us from having to interfere with all the big airplanes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we had our own little ramp up there in the corner, own little chow hall.
Right.
Our CPs, everything was right there. It was pretty self-enclosed. And it would just fly around all RC South for a year, having fun.
Just a whole camp full of warrant officers, huh?
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that's like.
There's shenanigans abound, I'm sure.
Yes, there is.
Where you can't find anyone.
Yeah.
So I'll quickly tell you a funny warrant officer story.
Please.
Is one of our platoon leaders at the time, a super awesome guy. I was actually in flight school with him, and he came to my unit at the same time. We... Before redeploying that year later, the warrant officers all got together and we started stuffing batteries in all of his gear, like little double A's, triple A's, and I'm talking like 1,000 scattered everywhere. That like 10 years later, when I talked to this guy when he was PCSing, he was still finding batteries falling out of his gear.
That's outstanding. Outstanding. That is so.
Why is my gear so heavy?
Yeah. What is going on? What is going on with all these batteries?
I mean, I thought I had sand everywhere.
Yeah, no
It's
kidding.
Batteries.
Yeah. So the Kiowa originally was like a forward observer type aircraft, right, for artillery, correct?
Yep, it was. Back in the late 60s is when in Vietnam was when they started employing that for the first time, the Alpha Chuck models. And it was no weapon systems on it. It really was a single pilot flying around as an observer and calling in targets and drawing fire, dropping smoke. And they would have a forward observer, an enlisted guy riding around with them, one of the crew chiefs. And then I can't tell for sure. I couldn't tell you how accurate this is, but Hugh Mills wrote the book Low Level Hell, and he talks about him being one of the first guys to put a weapon system on the Kiowa.
He just like duct tape it to it, like
pretty much mounted it so that he's flying and he's got this rifle hanging out that he can shoot at the same time.
Yeah.
And
he just made it himself.
Wow. And that morphed into, in the 80s, they did a whole revamp of the Kiowa and put the mass-mounted sight on it, and then they started putting the weapon systems on it. And it went through more upgrades by the time I was flying it, the Delta model. And we would carry rockets, and we had a 50 cal machine gun and Hellfire missiles.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah, that's some serious firepower right there.
Yeah, we couldn't carry a lot. It's a big joke, but we knew how to use what little we could carry quite well.
You'd be like, I'm I'm out. Right? I mean,
sometimes.
So I mean,
our little dot on the windscreen was our aiming apparatus. It's called a pipper.
The pipper.
Yeah, I'm not joking. A little grease mark on our windshield is what we would use to aim.
So did you just draw it on there?
Yeah, we did, and we all got good enough to know about where it was. And you go out and test fire, and you confirm, yep, that's where it is.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no computerized heads-up display. Just a Sharpie marker and a little X.
I'm glad it wasn't Marines flying that. They would have ate that thing, the crayon that you colored that thing on with.
Well, that could have happened. You would know. You would know. So it's primarily a close air support mission, like guys would call in and go, hey, we're having a bad day, come help us.
Yeah, a lot of scouting, a lot of reconnaissance, a lot of going and helping guys out when they got in trouble. We would fly around even on slow days if nothing was going on. We would simply just fly around to make noise, and it made guys feel safe. And if something comes up, we were already out there ready to react.
You know, I've always said feeling safe is better than not feeling safe.
Did you
I
always
would
say
agree.
that?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
Wow, how prolific.
I know, right? The profundity is coming. So, yeah. What was the name of that? What was the name of the thing on the windshield? What was it called? The Pipper?
Pipper.
The Pipper.
It was my punk band in the 1980s.
Yeah,
The Pippers.
Or the official thing is it's an acronym, ABRM, the Aerial Ballistic Reference Mark.
No,
Oh, wow.
that's
Yeah,
I
that
like
sounds,
it. Yeah.
that's a-
Some warrant officer went, yeah, we're going to call it that. That's fantastic. Well, we are getting ready to come up to break. You have been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We got our guest, Toby Familo, on the show today. Flew helicopters all over the world.
Right.
Man, I said it right, and we're really excited to have him here. This show is brought to you by Purple Heart Homes. You can go check us out at our website at phhusa.org. We're going to take a break and listen to some of our awesome sponsors to keep us on the air. We're just really glad that you're with us, and we'll see you here in a few minutes.
Keep it right here. Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders will return after these messages on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Oh, we're back?
Up to 12.
Oh, yeah. Well, we had 15, so I don't know what happened.
No, I started talking.
Well, I didn't want to say anything. Oh, we have a caller. Oh, hey.
You want to wait till we go back live before we take that call, or do you want to do it now? I think everybody should hear this.
It's the number.
Yeah.
It's the number.
But you want to wait till we go back live. You don't want it to be a secret special caller.
Or you want it to be like subscriber stuff only?
Oh, I mean, ooh, wow. Doesn't that sound fancy? No, we can take the caller
special
on there.
content.
Digital only content.
Oh, how long's the break?
Oh, you guys got like 4 more minutes.
Oh,
yeah, it's a long time to put him on
I think the
hold.
caller can talk that long. That's a long time to keep him on that long. I think he can talk that long.
You tell Chris to call in?
Maybe.
Yeah.
What? Who's this Chris?
Stand fast, Chief. We got this covered.
It sounds like we're going to put him on right now.
Well, put him on.
You said he could talk for a long time.
I said he could talk for a long time. Oh, is this him?
Yeah.
Hey,
so
caller.
Brad said that you're long-winded, special caller.
I did not
He
say
did.
that.
He said you could talk for a long time. Who do we have here? We have blank air. That's what we have.
Okay. I'm going to keep talking to you. Is this?
Hey, Devin, Brad.
Oh, hey, buddy. What's happening?
It's like a Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
I hear you. If I have to turn my speaker off for the show, that way I can hear you on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And you have to hold your tongue in the appropriate fashion as well.
Right.
It has to be outside the right side of your mouth in order for you to get proper reception. Ladies and gentlemen, for the Facebook world, it is Chris Benson, proud owner of Troops Hall Junk. How are you today, sir?
Hey, we're doing good, Brad. Hey, thanks for having me come on real quick to share a message I have.
Do you have like 5 minutes to hang out with us? Because what I'd like to do, we're in the middle of our break right now. We're still live on Facebook, so if you need to drop a profane word, you can do that now. But don't do that after we go back live on
What
the
is
air.
your favorite profane word? No, don't say it.
Stop.
What did I tell y'all?
Stop.
I'm going to get smacked by Tammy.
Yeah. So, well, we've got your buddy here. So what I'd like to do is like hang out a minute while we're on Facebook.
2.5 minutes.
And then for 2.5 minutes, and then once we get back in, I'd like to for you guys to talk about the connection that y'all have that is kind of wild. Will that work?
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Okay, cool. While we're on the air on Facebook, tell everybody about Troops Hall Junk.
Oh, yeah. So with Troops Hall Junk, what it is a national junk removal service, franchising specifically to veterans and first responders. But it doesn't end there. It's just junk removal. The whole purpose behind it is to bring back that camaraderie, the mentorship, the guidance that veterans transitioning out of service into business life. They have that support structure behind them. They have their brothers and sisters, that can speak the same language. It's familiar again. It's something that everyone can connect on and have that support as we grow.
That's great, man. How do people find out about Troops Haul Junk?
Yeah, you can check us out at troopshalljunk.com. There's a drop-down link to learn more about our franchise opportunities. We're expanding all across North Carolina and the whole country, wherever they may come from and want to be in business for themselves but not by themselves.
Oh,
60
man,
seconds.
That's a good
60 seconds.
That is a great tagline.
It
In
is.
business for themselves but not by themselves.
And that really can go up anywhere across the country because there's junk everywhere.
There is. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Even if you got junk in the trunk.
I was, man, dang. You beat me to the dad joke.
I was so close. You were so close.
Yeah, Toby here himself has had us on. Had us over his property.
Yeah.
I have a
30
couple
seconds.
times.
30 seconds.
Well, I know you guys helped out with our military makeover here in town and
Right.
did a great job with that. And we got you on the hook maybe to help another veteran out here real soon. So,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah, man. We're
Honored to be able to help with that project and all the projects with Purple Heart Homes.
we're grateful
Appreciate
for
We
you.
certainly appreciate your support, Chris.
Yeah, man. For
5 seconds. Mic's off.
All right, we're going mics off. Here we go.
Yesterday, Steve Potisk, Bloomberg Radio.
It's Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. We are live with Toby Familo.
Yeah.
Dang it, every time.
Yeah.
We are live with Chief Warrant Officer from the Army, Toby
Flinderson.
Yeah. We're live with a guest who really deserves to have a host that could say his name
That's
correctly.
exactly right. How about this? Toby Familo. Welcome.
Familo, yes.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, hey, during the break, we had a secret caller call in. For those of you listening live, we have on the line Chris Benson of Troops Haul Junk. Chris, how are you today?
Did we lose Chris?
Did we lose Chris?
Doing good, sir. How you
Oh,
doing?
there he is. All right, we had the Jeopardy theme going. That was fantastic.
Wow,
Thanks, Joe.
I didn't know
Well
you had
played,
that.
Joe.
Yeah, that's good.
Well
Hello,
played.
Devin, hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes,
got
we
you,
hear you.
man. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Awesome.
Got
So
you.
we've got you two guys joined together via electronic means, and there's a really cool connection in this story, and I'll let you guys kind of go from there and how in the world you guys didn't serve in the same unit, but somehow you guys served together. So let's hear it. What happened?
Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Toby. Good to see you on here.
Yeah, thank you. So when Lisa and I first moved back to North Carolina about 6 years ago, we rented a house for a year as we were house hunting. And about 5 years ago, we bought a house that needed a little bit of work, a little bit of help. It was a lot to do. So one of the things that I needed help with was cleaning up my yard and cleaning up, like the previous owners had left a bunch of trash out in the woods and things like that. So I came across a veteran-owned local company that can help with that sort of thing, yard work and junk removal. So I messaged them, probably over Facebook, I believe it was. And lo and behold, it was Chris Benson who came out and was able to help me out quite a bit. And we hit it off right away. We got chatting about our military time and figured out that we were both in Afghanistan at the same time in one of our deployments, yeah.
No kidding. And does it go any further than that?
It does.
Chris, I'll let you.
It's
Chris,
almost as if you knew already.
Yeah, Chris, take it from there. Tell everybody else about that story. Not only were you there at the same time, but some other cool stuff happened.
So Toby here, just like he said, we met through him needing some help at his home, and we got to talking. And sure enough, we were there at the same time in the same location. We were in the Kunar province of Afghanistan in RC East. I was in the 112 Infantry Battalion with the 4th Infantry Division out of Fort Carson, Colorado. Toby here was with the 82nd, and we did not know each other at all during the time. We just knew him by his call sign of Seamus. And we knew when we had troops in contact, which was, if you know, Toby can agree, almost every day, every other day where we were. we would have to have air support come in. We were in a pretty heavy fire area, so it was Alpha Company 112. But he would come up into our AO pretty regularly under those situations, and he'd provide air support. And I like to say that some heroes wear capes, but others have Hellfire missiles and 50 cal. Toby would come here. He'd come in low. He'd buzz the tower. He'd come in with Hellfires blazing, and really gave it to him and kept us safe. And we definitely, I probably even owe him, up to my life, and all the people in my platoon that he kept us safe. When we heard them coming, we knew that we were all right.
Man, that is awesome. Wow, what a great story.
That is a great story.
Toby had this really cool photo, and I was trying to get it and put it in the comments, but I just can't get it to cooperate. So everybody's listening right now, you got to go back and look at the comments later. We're going to have a cool photo that Toby took from his helicopter of where Chris Benson was stationed at. Yeah.
Oh, so you were like up doing selfies in the Kiowa. And
No.
yeah, what's up, man?
I didn't even know y'all had TikTok over there. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
we had a great time there.
part of being a scout.
Yeah.
We carried cameras with us
there
everywhere.
you go.
All the time. They were decent cameras too, and we would use them, take pictures of a lot of things, and go back and that night scan through it and continue our reconnaissance, even though we're back at the base.
Oh wow!
I can hear Chris right now. Seamus.
I tell you, earlier I talked about how I was in Kandahar for a year, but this time we spent another year in JBAD. And flying up and down to RC East and the Kunar. And where Chris was, OP Bareilly is way up north, up near Kamdash and up near Bostik, and it's pretty close to the Pakistan border.
Yeah, it's remote.
It's north up there. And those are the guys that we love supporting because there's only a few of them sitting on this tiny little mountaintop in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by bad guys all the time, 24/7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So we every time that we're in the area, we always call them on the radio, check in. Hey, how's it going? What do you need? Something Chris probably doesn't know about. I've never told him this, but there was a pretty special area that we routinely would go check out that was just behind his little OP. If you go up a ridge and over a mountaintop, and there was an enemy training camp, not all too far from where he was, and I don't know if he even knows that or not. But we would fly over there and check that out all the time, make sure guys weren't running around and trying to get down to where Chris was.
Yeah, wow.
Oh my gosh!
I believe the name was Hajibad. Does that ring a bell?
I think there's a lot of them named that.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Oh wow! Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. And again, Chris, how can people reach out to Troops All Junk?
Oh, yeah, troopshalljunk.com. Here locally, 704-800-4285. But at a national level, to speak to us as the co-founders, just reach out online, troopshalljunk.com, or shoot us an email at chris@troopshalljunk.com, and we'll get you fixed up and let you get some information about our franchise opportunity.
Man, that's awesome. Hey, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Appreciate you, Chris.
Absolutely. Thank y'all. Thanks, Toby.
Right.
Thank you.
Cool. So I got to know, everybody, all the pilots get call signs, nicknames. So where did Seamus come from?
Yeah, so back in the United States, like 117 Cavalry proper, I was in bootleg troop. So my call sign at home was bootleg 11. But whenever we deployed, we had a deployed call sign that was assigned to us in that area. And that's where Seamus came up.
Oh, so it was just a random thing.
Yeah, our prior to our Kandahar deployment, our squadron, our task force commander, that's what he selected our call sign to be, and several deployments.
It wasn't like a derogatory nickname, like like, oh, he's Italian, we're going to give him an Irish name.
I kept thinking that's a very Irish sounding name there.
All the Kiowas in Task Force 117, we all had Seamus call signs, and then the number was assigned to our aircraft. Like if I flew whatever specific aircraft had Seamus 72. Was my call sign that day.
Got it.
It wasn't individually assigned, it was aircraft assigned. But then when we're back in the States, then we had our own individual call signs.
Right. Okay.
Oh, no kidding. I didn't have any idea that that's how that worked, man.
And it could have been worse. It could have been shame on us.
Oh, yeah. With the dad jokes.
Man, wow.
The engineer is getting ready to turn off your mic.
Well, that's really cool. I mean, so it's different from the Air Force. The Air Force, they give everybody's got a individual call sign. It's not assigned to an aircraft. It's assigned to a person. Maverick, Goose, that kind of. Or the Navy.
Think maybe that's just the warrant officers being even more incognito.
Just rebels.
Yeah.
Just rebels all the way.
Well, some guys had individual call signs that we made up unofficially and gave to them.
Yeah. And they would get stickers on their helmets for that. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Are they FCC friendly call signs?
Well, one of them, I'll give you one. His call sign was Deuce.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We'll be right back after this break. Maybe we'll find out what Deuce means during that break.
Yeah, we might. Yeah, we will.
Catch us back in just a few minutes.
More Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders coming up on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well.
Oh, we're back live.
We're back.
Oh, did you know? Dead air. Yeah.
Dead air. Every broadcaster's worst
I thought
nightmare.
that Joe just cut our mics for your dad jokes. I didn't know what was happening.
Could have been. I have a whole bucket full of dad jokes, that's for sure.
I can't currently hear you. Your mic's cut.
My mic. As soon as I started talking about a bucket full of dad jokes, he cut me off.
Yeah.
Don't get used to that joke. I think our most faithful fan is Mandy Timberlake.
I think so, yeah.
Every week she chimes in with some witty repartee. Do you even know what I just said?
I do. My watch started vibrating for some reason. I was like, what's happening right now?
Let's talk about what deuce means.
Why do you let me be on here?
So while we were in the show, I mean, for those of you on Facebook, if you were listening, we were talking about call signs, and chief warrant officers that fly aircraft sometimes get call signs that they are unofficial call signs, and one of them was Deuce, correct?
That's right, yeah.
Was there another one that you remember? What was yours? Did you have an
60
unofficial?
seconds.
Unofficial Toby Familo call sign?
Yeah.
Wow.
You want to write it down?
So,
I don't think he can tell you.
And I don't know if I've ever told my wife about this, but they used to call me the crazy bunny.
The crazy
from
bunny?
You remember Monty Python?
Yes.
The white bunny.
Yes. Yeah.
That's all cute and cuddly
until it starts slaying people.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's awesome.
30 seconds.
I once got in trouble for making a bunny out of C4 after watching.
What did you watch? Caddyshack?
No, Monty Python.
Oh, Caddyshack.
We watched it like a few days before, and then we come back and we're like, hey, we're cross training and we're gonna play with C4 today. I was like, oh, that sounds fun.
Mandy Timberlake said you missed the meds today.
5 seconds, mic's off.
Oh my gosh.
Call now to speak with John Gallina and Brad Borders at 844-STUDIO-4. It's Putting the Pieces Back Together on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Good.
You're back at listening to Putting Pieces Back Together. I am off my meds, according to our greatest listener, Mandy Timberlake.
Did you just say listening to putting the pieces back together? Listening the pieces back together?
I have no idea. You are listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you want to know more about
together.
Purple Heart Homes, go to phhusa.org.
That is fantastic.
And you can find out how we help and assist veterans every day with their housing needs.
You got a project of the week this week?
You know what? I don't have a project of the week that we have completed, but we have a project that we still could use a lot of help with. There's a house out in Iron Station. And,
Iron Station.
Yeah, man, it is. If you don't know where Iron Station is, you can't get there from here.
That's right.
But
down near Cherville.
Yeah. It's not that far away, about an hour away from where we're located. And we went out there. I went out there with our project manager, Lamar Austin, and Joel Dalton, donations coordinator. And we took a look at this fella's roof. And if we were to take his roof off, the whole house was going to collapse.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah. And so we got to talking. And while we did have somebody to repair the roof, that just wasn't going to work, and so Lamar has beat the drum out there in the community.
He has been doing a great
and
job. Joel too.
Joel, yeah, and everybody has been coming together.
Yeah.
I think 18 different contractors and community members, associations have signed on so far to help out. But we could still use a little help because we're going to have to take this house all the way to the ground and rebuild it for this veteran.
Yeah.
And he's just the most charismatic guy that I mean, he's just so humble. He's excited to have a light on his back porch and his front porch.
Yeah, right,
I mean,
right.
that's the kind of humble he is. And so if you want to help out with that project or help out any veteran that's in your area or across the country, we're helping veterans in 46 states and Puerto Rico. Go to phhusa.org. We sure could use your help. And yeah, man,
awesome. That was well done.
Oh, well, thank you. That's about the only thing I've done well today.
We're listening the pieces back together.
That's really got to get back on those meds.
We got a new show we're doing. Hey, we've been joined the entire show by our good friend Toby Familo.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I've just abandoned trying to say Toby's last name. It's
Toby, one of the things that when we have veterans on that are no longer serving, right? We have some that are still in, but man, what was transitioning out of the military like for you? Talk to that a little bit. Was there some struggles that you went through, and what does that all look like?
Yeah, sure. It's certainly not an easy process.
Yeah.
There are a lot of differences going from career military into the civilian world. Yeah. My first job out of the Army was flying for the New York State Police. Then I did a little contract work, and then I was flying EMS. And the flying's pretty similar, but dealing with people and organizations and
culture,
is certainly different. One of the biggest things that I had to relearn was in the military, everything you are helping the people to your left and your right. Everything you do, they're counting on you to be successful. They're your peer, and you have to take care of each other. And that also means keeping each other accountable.
Yeah.
Whereas in the civilian world, it's not as easy to keep each other accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting through HR briefs where they tell you, hey, if the guy next to you isn't doing the right thing, you can't say anything to him about that. Go tell your supervisor and let them deal with it. And that was foreign to me. Versus like, what is wrong with just telling somebody, hey, dude, why don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, we called it on-the-spot correction.
Yeah, police your own.
Yeah.
If you don't police your own, we're going to do it for you. You don't want.
Yeah, and when it's done correctly, it can be a very empowering. I've numerous times where I was an officer, but I had NCOs like, hey, sir, come here for a second. You need to dress that up.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not hostile. It's
not hostile at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but it's not acceptable in the civilian world to do stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. And so you kind of have to navigate your way out of that. Any struggles with just having to do the stuff you did and lingering thoughts about that? over the years?
Yeah, I think it's pretty common. I occasionally have had more so in the past than now, but nightmares and
yeah, sure,
a lot of recurring memories, and you're in a mentality, especially when you're in a position where you are out fighting and doing quite drastic, deadly things, which becomes routine.
Yeah,
and then coming home and reflecting on that, and you're not the same. I'm not the same person now that I was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So you start to question some things, and it's a learning curve for sure.
I always used to get worried about. I was more worried about the soldiers who didn't grapple with the fact that they were going to take another human's life. You know, it was like if they approached it from a very nonchalant point of view. That always worried me. It wasn't the guys who wrestled with it that I was more concerned about, because I realized that their moral compass was on straight. Because human beings, we were not designed originally to kill one another, right?
Absolutely not.
That's been an invention that power and struggle and the scarcity mindset of I got to keep mine has created. And so I just know. I mean, launching deadly munition from an airframe. I can imagine what that might have felt like. In the heat of it, you don't think about it, right? Because you got to do your deal.
You don't. You're right. You don't.
Yeah, but it's the downtime later, where because like on the other end of that, some family lost a dad or a brother, or and that can be really difficult, and so there's no easy answer for that. Right?
True.
There really isn't, and so I know a lot of soldiers wrestle with that after they've had to do that. So I hope that for you, I hope that ongoing transition, because it really never stops.
Correct. It is forever.
Yeah.
And it's still ongoing for me, and I have reached out to the VA in Salisbury. There's a hospital, and I've attended counseling programs.
Yep.
To help me deal with some thoughts.
I'm going tomorrow,
and it's been very helpful for me.
Yeah, because there are resources, and I really wanted to get to that, because we don't just stay stuck in our. If we're going to keep moving forward in life and be the human that we want to be, and we find ourselves at a place where we need some help, we got to reach out to those resources.
Yeah, nobody's alone. You're never alone.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I do want to let everybody know that we've got another reboot class starting up. February 20th at Purple Heart Homes. If you're a veteran, you've seen some stuff or done some stuff that maybe bugs you, you're looking for a community of people to plug into and some real practical tools, you can find out more about Reboot at rebootrecovery.com, and we'll be starting that class on February 20th. You just got to sign up. It's free, doesn't cost anything, and you'll get a nice meal out of it.
Oh yeah. It's a fantastic class. I got to tell you, I did not want to go to the class, and Brad beat me up for a couple of years. I mean, not physically beat me up.
Browbeat you.
Browbeat me.
I put you in the emotional headlock.
He put me in the emotional headlock, and I got to tell you that I'm glad that I went. And
I'm glad you went too.
Yeah,
that's good. So what's next for you, man? I mean, we're coming down the final few minutes of the show. Tell us what's going on in your life now that's got you jazzed up and positive and heading in the right direction.
This right here.
Yeah.
Being here with you guys.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I'm pretending to be retired right now is what I tell people.
Yeah.
And seeing what volunteer opportunities exist locally, helping out around the house.
Yeah.
The kids, supporting my wife's career. Stuff like that.
Yeah, you mention your wife, and that's funny that you mention your wife, because we always talk about how the military service affects veterans, but we sometimes forget to talk about how it affects the rest of the family.
Oh yeah.
When you're serving and you're married to someone, they're serving with you. Their families, your family's serving with you.
Of course.
And because of that, we're actually going to have a very special guest next
week.
Yeah. Yeah. Who is that, Toby?
That would be Lisa Familo.
We'll have it down by next week.
My wife, and we've been married the entire time I've been in the service.
Yeah.
We were both 19 when we got married. The whole classic story. I went to basic training, came home and got married, and we we've lived our life. And she went through all the deployments and took care of
stuck with
everything
you.
at home.
Yeah. Stuck with you. Yeah. And this is the first time we've done that. We've had husbands and wives on the show, but we wanted to focus this whole week just on Toby's story. Next week, if you tune back in, we're going to have Lisa on. She's going to be where Toby is in that chair, and we're going to hear everything from her perspective, and I think that's really going to be cool.
Yeah, that'll be our Valentine's Day special.
It will be our Valentine's Day special.
She put up with Toby for how many years now?
Too many.
Too many.
So, before we sign off, thanks, Toby, for being here. We appreciate you. Lisa, we're looking forward to having you next week. I want everybody to remember February 12th is it's going to be the anniversary of us losing Dale Beatty in 2018. 6 years now. It's hard to believe, but if you would, next Tuesday on February 12th, if you just say a little prayer. Is it not Tuesday? Monday. Oh, Monday's the 12th. Okay.
It's Monday.
Say a little prayer for Dale and his family and all those that left behind and the impact that he had on veterans all over the country. So
absolutely.
We appreciate you listening this week. Devin, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great.
Yeah. Hey, you've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. Bye.
You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, brought to you by Purple Heart Homes. Please consider making a donation to this worthwhile cause dedicated to improving the lives of veterans one home at a time by visiting purplehearthomesusa.org. Join us again next Thursday at 3 p.m. for Putting the Pieces Back Together on WSIC News Talk Now.
The new 105.9, 100.7 WSIC, Statesville, Mooresville, North